When the news now, prosecutors are painting a sadistic picture of an alleged teen killer. They say 17-year-old Jose Reyes convinced a friend to kidnap and brutally murder a teenage girl in order to help him sell his soul to the devil.
One injury that was impossible to miss was this, an upside-down crucifix that they say had been carved on the girl's stomach.
What we knew is this, that Mr. Reyes and a juvenile were in the vacant apartment with the 15-year-old complainant, that they discussed the fact that Mr. Reyes had sold his soul to the devil, and if they ended up killing this teenager, this would allow the 16-year-old to also sell his soul to the devil.
Shocking confession from a Pennsylvania newlywed. The so-called female Craigslist killer now claims to have murdered 22 people across the country.
Barbara has confessed to murdering LaFerrara and claims to have killed nearly 24 more across the country, starting at just 13 years old when she joined a satanic cult, saying, quote, "When I hit 22, I stopped counting."
It was around noon at Sunchase Apartments when the victim's daughter, Katie Nichols, showed up and told me she stabbed her mother. My camera was rolling during her entire confession, which all has to do with satanic curses. Nichols walked up to the camera.
The satanic cult in this city has been casting satanic spells on me for 4 days. I'm exhausted.
Deputies say Nichols' mother was stabbed in the neck, chest, and stomach and was rushed to the hospital.
When I left, she was still breathing.
Well, that's good.
I stabbed her 3 times, and she should have died, but she was the Antichrist. She did not die.
Nichols is convinced she did everyone a favor.
She had symbolic representations of my death, my daughter's death, every nuclear explosion that was supposed to happen that's not going to now.
A mother identified as 32-year-old Ebony Wilkerson from Cross, South Carolina. She is now undergoing mental health exams. Wesha Stewart Moore has a 911 call placed by her sister prior to the incident.
Hours before Ebony Wilkerson drove her minivan into the ocean with her 3 children inside, her sister called police because she said the pregnant 32-year-old was acting strangely.
He's talking about Jesus and that there's demons in my house and that I'm trying to control her, but I'm trying to keep them safe.
Keep her safe, not from the ocean waves, but from an alleged abusive ex. Volusia County Sheriff Ben Johnson says she would not even tell investigators where she was going when she was pulled over by Daytona Beach police hours before driving into the ocean.
Government forces and the opposition are going at each other in several deadly hotspots around the globe tonight. Government forces are advancing in Syria, a public showdown in Venezuela, new gun battles in Thailand, but we begin in Ukraine.
The crisis in Ukraine is turning deadlier by the minute. Thailand and Venezuela also brought to the brink by major demonstrations and protests. Is this the kind of event that could lead to something far worse?
Yes, I think what it boils down to is that you have very large populations that haven't participated in the economic recovery.
What Russia is doing now in Ukraine violates the principles of the United Nations Charter. It threatens peace and security in Europe. Russia must stop its military activities and its threats.
A two-state solution to the Middle East peace process may have grown dimmer today. Correspondent Doug McKelway on the unfortunate timing of a visit by one of America's strongest allies.
A vigorous handshake, warm greetings, and an expression of hope for Mideast peace seem designed to tamp down reports of a prickly relationship between President Obama and Prime Minister Netanyahu.
It's my belief that ultimately it is still possible to create 2 states, a Jewish state of Israel and a state of Palestine in which people are living side by side and peace and security.
The president said that a Mideast peace deal may hinge on a pullback of Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Underscore the difficulty of Secretary of State John Kerry's framework, a 9-month negotiation launched last July, which now threatens to extend beyond a late April deadline.
There have been some amazing, significant prophetic things that have happened.
Yes, these tetrads, or these 4 moons, total eclipses of them, happen rarely, but last century they happened twice. 1967 and 1968, when Jerusalem was recaptured on Passover and Tabernacles, and then again right after Israel became a nation in 1948. It happened in 1949 and 1950. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is tied to Israel. And so I looked in the 1800s, there weren't any. 1700s, there weren't any. 1600s, there weren't any. In the 1500s, there were like 4 or 5 times, but none of them fell on the feast days. And then in the 1492 is when all the Jews were kicked out of Spain. And in 1493 and 1494, the same thing. And so I thought, wow, 2014 and 2015 looks like it's to be pretty significant.